Well, I am alive. C'est la vie. It is life. I'm not sure that's the right translation for it, but it is what it is. So if my voice disappears at some point during this evening, don't blame me for it. It is what it is. The progress of this particular round of being sick has been obnoxious at best. It has made most of the past week so exhausting that just sitting in a chair for more than 10 minutes was a workout. So that was fun. And now we're in the phase of, the last 2 days have been in the phase of, and I'm missing some hearing in my right ear. I mean, it's just gone at this point. If I'll get it back, we'll find out. But as it stands right now, I'm able to breathe through my nose again. It hurts like a dickens, but I'm able to breathe through my nose again. And I'm not coughing a lot. I occasionally have some coughing fits. But I imagine I will still be on the recovery. I may have I don't know if I'm yelling because I can't appropriately hear my voice level. I'm sorry if I'm screaming at you. But I don't hurt all the time either, so that's a good plus. Like for more than a few days, just everything hurt. Everything hurt. And sitting upright was too much. Laying down hurt. Standing up hurt. But they each hurt at a gradual introduction to the pain. So like I definitely, oh, for God's sake, just get back in the box, you little loser. I should know not to fiddle with things when I'm trying to do a live stream because it throws off my ability to concentrate, which is shot anyway. Being sick, not feeling well, it sort of destroys my ability to concentrate. So, plans for the holidays. I'm not going anywhere. I imagine over the next couple of days, I mean, I still have to kind of stay indoors, not to expose anybody to what I got. But I imagine I will be just making do for the holiday season by myself. And then I believe I've got to go back to work the first day that I'm available to go back to work. So that's sort of my plans for the holiday. Not doing anything with family because of the risk of infecting family members. Got a couple family members with chronic health concerns. Some of my family are over the age of 70. So most of my family that we would get together with are high risk. And, whether or not I still have it probably wouldn't be a case. But it doesn't make sense for there to be a risk involved with that. So we're just scheduling it for a different part of the coming year. I don't know when we're going to do it. I don't know what exactly we're going to do because we haven't gotten together all year this year either. It was one time I've seen anybody in my family this year. And that was from my niece's graduation from high school. And we did a birthday / graduation for her at the same time. And that was the only event we've done this year. So there are multiple birthdays, multiple holidays that we haven't done yet. And they're just down the line. We will always have the chance to do them so long as we don't risk each other. And I work in a retail environment. I'm chronically exposed to people who just don't have any sense more than to expose other people to the risk. So I'm a chronic risk factor because I have encounters with hundreds of people on a daily basis. That means that if I were to try to get together with family, I would have to take 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off where I'm not sick. The only time I've had off this year like that, for the most part, has been because I've been sick. And all my other time has been here or at work. So I'm kind of okay with the fact that we're not doing anything. Like, my ability to plan and get anything done for a party or a gathering of any kind is just shot. I just, like, the workload, the craziness, the election this year, all of those factors are just too much. I can't get my brain organized in any any semblance of something functional enough to, think about gifts and celebration with anybody. But I mean, I still had some kind of hopes to do a few things for family this year. I'm just postponing it, I guess. We'll put it off for a little bit later. I think it would be, and I'll say this here now, I think it would be immensely fun to get some of my family together and have them react to videos, music, or gameplay. So sit down and play a game together, video or tabletop, doesn't matter. And I think it would be lots of fun to do a reaction of my mother to some of my favorite movies or games. I mean, we could probably do a book club too, or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't see it happening because most of my family is intensely private, and they just couldn't wrestle themselves into the idea of being on camera, especially on a camera that'll be broadcasting its contents to the entire world. I don't think that'll ever happen, but it would be. Tell me you think that would be as much fun as I think it would be. I think it would be fun to do a sit-down tabletop role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons, just a one-shot session with my mom. And maybe my niece and sister, I don't know. The possibility of introducing my mom to some of my favorite movies and just getting her feel on that. Like some of the Marvel movies, she's not seen any of them. And I think it would be lots of fun to just see my mom's reaction to certain ones. There are 22 of them. I don't think I'd ever get her to sit through 22 of them, let alone react on a camera to any of them. But I think it's a fun idea. I would love to do that. I could have a lot of fun. I imagine I could probably get some of my other family members to eventually get into it. But, I mean, it'd be like pulling teeth. And it's kind of sad that it's that hard to share some of my interests with them. But as it stands, I think for the most part, we're probably just going to do some simple early spring gathering, and just kind of, it's going to be a messy clusterfuck of a thing, because it's going to be 2 birthdays apiece for 4 of us, and 1 birthday for a 5th of us, and 2 family gathering holidays equivalent, and a little more on top of that, I think. It's going to be a lot to really unpack all at once. I did suggest potentially that we could do something as a like an online or a video chat or something like that, where like we really need to send this year off, like burn it in epitaph or something like that. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we need to say goodbye to 2020. We got to do something there. And on that token, I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to fully shave down to the skin, or if I'm just going to trim it all up neater. This is a mess, and it's one of my pet peeves that you can kind of see. It's not the best beard on this side. It's all right here, and there's almost nothing here. I'm very lopsided on how this goes, so I might just shave it all off. I don't know. I have to think about it. There are a couple projects where I would like to do these projects that would require me to have a beard. And I don't know if I want to grow it out again or not. But I definitely want to shave it off for the end of the year, I think. But as for the plans for coming into the new year, I feel like it's gonna be here faster than I'm ready for. Like, I know it's literally only a few days away, right? It's a little bit. It's a week away. New Year's Eve is a week away at this point. No, a week and a week and a day and a half. So eight and a half days, kind of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8.5 days. So I feel like that'll sneak up on me before I'm even ready to realize it. And I don't know that between recovering from being sick and going back to work, I don't know if my focus is going to be maintained well enough to catch it before it hits me. So I got to try to stay on top of it, because I really do want to start off the new year just working on projects. You know, I'm debating as we go forward further whether I think it's worthwhile or wise for me to keep going back to where I work. I kind of want to just start off the new year with nothing other than my projects on my plate. Now, I'm thinking as we go into New Year's, I will be doing the monthly projects, the first one being animation. I want to do those monthly projects and share what I'm working on with the channel here. I'll probably end up doing that as not live streams. So I'm debating whether or not I'm going to get back into doing the full reviews of other things. I mean, right now you're getting the taste tests of Christmas treats going up each day, sometimes on a reasonable time frame, sometimes not. But there's a part of me that's looking at the possibility of getting back into the swing of doing a book, a movie, a board game, or some other tabletop game, video game, product or service, taste tests, and I think I said video game. I'm debating how far to get back into the swing of that. And I've got to decide in the next week. Because if I want to do that, what I'd probably end up doing is doing the Monday and Friday be those two projects. So like a book and a movie the first week. So Monday, Friday. And then I guess technically the first is a Friday. Let's take a look at what January looks like. So the 4th and 8th, the 11th and the 15th, the 18th and the 22nd, and the 25th and the 29th. Those would essentially be 8 categories of content that I've produced in the past. So books, movies, tabletop games, product or service, taste test, art or music, video games, and then health and well-being, I think, was the 8th category that I tended to do. And I feel like I could probably split art and music up. Health and well-being, I could probably do more as a vlog, midweek style kind of thing if I really wanted to. I'm not sure. I haven't figured that one out yet. And then I think at that point it would be Tuesdays and Thursdays I would do the nighttime live video. And does that then suggest that like Sundays might be or like Saturday, Sunday might be updates on the monthly project? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I have to really think about how I'm doing this, because I haven't done in over a year. I don't think I've really done genuine full set of 8 reviews per month. And that's unfortunate, because I mean, I don't do this channel because I expect to become famous or wealthy or hit a huge audience or anything like that. My interest here was partly to encourage people to find inspiration in other creative ventures, to come up with some of my own creative ideas inspired by some things. And to be perfectly honest, I have a huge collection of things. I have a collection of board games. I have a collection of books. I've got 3 or 4 bookshelves in storage units packed full of books that have ideas that I find interesting, and I want to sit, read, react to, and review those books. And then I want to come up with the ideas they inspire in me about other things I can create. Much like we did earlier in this year before the computer crash, where I proposed ideas of pop culture that I find interesting to me, and they're some of my favorite pieces of pop culture. I break them down, I take the pieces of them, rework them a little bit, put them back together, and create a whole new idea off of them. That's my bread and butter. I love that creative exercise, that play with ideas. And I love finding new sources of ideas that I can play with. And so finding new books, finding new movies, exploring them, breaking them apart for ideas, coming up with my own ideas. And if somebody else watching comes up with an idea and they tell us about their idea that they came up with, I want that to happen. If it's only 2 of us who ever come to these videos, I'm fine with it. I want that creative outlet, and I want that creative inspiration coming in and out, going both ways, supporting each other, being creative. That's really my biggest desire. And so, like, the idea of doing those types of videos was why I started this channel. And I've gotten away from some of that, and I miss it. It's hard to get the time, or I mean, to a certain degree in my brain, it feels like I should say it's hard to make the time. Because quite frankly, I could call up my boss tomorrow and say, I'm not coming back. I'm going to devote the time to doing the things I want to do. How long can I do that? Well, probably not super long, but I could get away for a little while to do that. But in the long run, that's not as sustainable as I would like it to be. And the question of could I make these videos more professional? There are a lot of ideas I've had as to how I could upgrade these video qualities, but in the grand scheme of things, the end result of what I want to be able to put up on here is essentially me video journaling about creative ideas I have, that other people have had, that I can check out, and that other people get from the analysis or the breakdown, or even just taking a look at my video and going like, God, you're an idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is what you should do. Please do that. Do it, share it, so I can see what creative things you do. And I want to make that space in my life for it again. I don't know that I'll be able to jump full tilt back on the wagon of doing 2 of those a week for different formats. I think in the long run, the easiest to do that for would be to do books, movies, taste tests, maybe products every now and then, but not very often, and video games, music, and tabletop games when I feel like it. I mean, I still have my collection I can wheedle my way through. So tabletop games could be included in that. But product and services are not heavy on my priority list anymore. And the health and well-being, I could do more talks like that on here, but I don't know as they are useful in the long run. And by that I mean, like, that's a category in itself whose benefit in existing requires more of actively building an audience for it. I mean, a mental health support community would be great. And I think there are plenty of people out there who could want it, especially in this past year. But just because there are people out there who want it and it would be a good idea, doesn't mean that I have the time or the ability to put the effort into making the quality version of that needs to be made. And I feel like not only would you have to work on the quality and the production of that, but you have to do the outreach. You have to do a channel build that I don't envision as being necessary or important to the rest of what I'm doing with this channel. I guess what I'm sort of saying is, like, if I wanted to do the health and well-being category of content again, I would separate that off into its own channel. That's enough for its own channel. And I don't think that I want to clutter this channel up too much anyway. I think movies, books, games, taste tests are enough. Like, just those 4 should be enough. I mean, I could periodically do a product review. And honestly, this time of season probably would have been the better time to do it. Seasonally do like your gift list kind of thing. Do a 25 days of Christmas advent calendar of gifts you can get. I could do that kind of thing. I don't know that it's fitting where I imagine the rest of this channel to go. And so I really do think that looking at entertainment, reacting to it, reviewing it, and sort of using it as a springboard for new ideas, that's my bread and butter. And I think that's what I want to focus on this channel doing. So if I were to really bring that back around and focus on doing that now, I think I could probably do once a week for those types of videos. And once or twice a week doing updates on the monthly project, and then live stream vlogging twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week. So, I mean, I have to figure it out for sure, but I think that's probably more along the lines of what I think I'll be able to pull off. Now, that's on this channel, and I'm hoping that I'm far enough out of whatever illness repercussions are. Yeah, I'm on the mend at this point. The last couple nights, I've been absolutely wrecked. I mean, I can hear out of one ear right now. I can't hear out of this one, and my throat hurts. You can probably hear my voice is a little raspy. I can breathe a little bit more now, but I'm hoping I'm mended enough to start plugging away on Roving Jack. That channel's been dormant too long, and I stopped in the middle of a project that I have a lot more content to put up for. So I need to get back into the swing of doing that on top of doing this. And I would love to launch Opportunity Forge, which is the sister channel to this one. I'd love to do that starting New Year's. That's an absolute boatload of work to put into this. And so I got to ramp myself up to get into the process of doing that. And if it's anything like I imagine it's going to be in the next couple of weeks, at the end of this week, I have to go back to the job that gobbles up my time, work that job, come back here and work on 3 YouTube channels, and possibly the launch of those podcasts that I was starting before the last data loss on the last time the computers went down. This has been a crap year for being able to pull my resources together to work on projects. It's been brutal. So, I mean, it's a lot to work on. I think I need to work my way up through the remaining 8 days to being able to launch my way into those processes. Now, what kind of update schedule would I like? The Roving Jack channel, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be 5, maybe 6 days a week of videos. But that's like, I think that's probably 2 to 4 hour, well, I would say 1 to 2 hours of editing per day's worth of video. So probably 7 to 8 hours total per week of editing just for that channel. Which is why my goal for doing the videos for this channel are to do as little post work as possible. And I have to format, and I have to think about how I format what I do from this point on. Like, my preferred approach to formatting videos for this channel would be to do what I was doing before, where I do an intro to what we're going to be looking at, a montage of me checking it out, followed by a review, a rating, and then ideas generated by that project. That is something that is not easy to do without some heavy editing. And I feel like if I were to streamline the process a little bit more, I could probably make it all much more doable. I mean, for music and movies especially, I can do a sort of a reaction capture that I can clip. Like you can look online and you can see people who react to music, and you could do that almost live, no editing before and after. That's fairly easily done. Movies are harder to do because of the length of the thing you're reacting to and how much you're allowed to include. That's the other huge hurdle I have to think about when considering how I might change up my formatting. If I were to do more reactions to movies and videos and TV series, like I'd like to do, I would have to record myself for 2.5 hours, the movie for 2.5 hours, roughly, sync them, and cut the clips. So I'd have to watch 2.5 hours of myself reacting to a movie that I've already watched once and cut at certain points. Now, I feel like there's got to be some hacks to make that easier. And I'm debating whether or not in that way of doing things, if it makes sense to split up the reaction and the review and rate and inspirations portion of those episodes. I don't know. I don't want to be a reaction channel, and I feel like the reaction portion of that might be something to set aside for a future time, where like the recording of the reaction is the hardest part because it requires editing for movies. For music, I could probably just include that. That's fine. Gameplay is also something I'm going to have to consider and think around for video games in particular. Because, I mean, as much as a lot of people say, like, oh, there are big-time YouTubers out there who do nothing but react to video clips. Yeah, how many of them got takedowns? How many of them got strikes against them? Copyright strikes. I don't have the energy to convert this channel to doing that just to have to fight to keep it up. It's not what I set out to do, and it's not what I want to spend the energy fighting to do. So, I mean, I don't know. I have to really think about where I'm going with some of this stuff. And man, that ear is killing me right now. So, I mean, I'll think about what I do for the review portions of my video content, but I've only got like a little over a week to figure it out. And because I want to start with the new year and just go at it. The editing of videos for Roving Jack and then this channel, I can do it in such a way that the workload is distributed easier if I give myself a lead time and get to the point where I can reasonably use some of my spare time in a given day. And what I mean by that is like, I don't have 4 hours to 6 hour time spans in a day free to do this stuff. So what I need to be able to do is starting out, I need to be able to say like, okay, for the next month's worth of content, here are the projects that we're working on. Here are 5-minute bits of each project that we can work on when we have a spare 5 minutes. And just pound that in home. And like, you need to be able to know what you're doing far enough ahead of time to plan how to break that project over the spare moments you have during each week. And so I need to come up with that plan now, because it doesn't do me any good to do it the day before New Year's hits, and then I'm just scrambling, and I'll be so scrambled by the time it starts happening that I'll just spend the next 4 to 6 months just trying to keep up with what I've set myself to do. And I need to plan it better than that going in. Now, Opportunity Forge, the other channel, that one, I have to even figure out what my weekly, monthly schedule of uploads on that are going to be, and how I'm going to format that and set aside the planning time to do that. It's a lot of work to get ahead on that. The podcasts, I feel like if I just do cold takes, just full on single shot, I mean, I might include some video elements for some of them to upload to YouTube, but I have the sites set up for the podcasting. I think I could probably just start laying out the scripts and going for it, and do it like a live presentation. No post production, no post editing. Well, that's not true. You have to do some post editing on those, don't you? Damn. Because they use that audio trick. Yeah, I'd have to do some layering. So each one of those is probably going to be about an hour's worth of recording. No, maybe about half an hour worth of recording for a 15-minute episode max, to do 2 audio tracks that I then stack in what's the Audacity, and tweak the audio editing. Yeah, so it would probably be about an hour's worth of work per podcast, and I've got the 5 of them to play with. So once a week, for each of them. So that would have to be like 5 to 7 hours per week for podcasting. Let's just start crunching this down. Let's say 7 hours a week for a podcast build, plus, what are we saying for the reviews on this channel? Let's just go with 2 hours per week for that one for starts. Live streams on this channel, probably about an hour. And I would have to put in, I don't know. I want to say the edits for Roving Jack are probably going to be, let's say, an even 10 hours for the whole week. And then Opportunity Forge, let's say we do a video a week. Give it 3 hours. I mean, right there, we're at 23, almost 24 hours for the whole week. It's not impossible, but it's not like it's, a 4-hour a day shift for a week. Like it's I don't have that 4-hour block of time to treat it like a part-time job. I'm going to have to take pieces here and pieces here. So it's going to take some very serious planning to get that to work right. And I think it would be fun to see, just for shits and giggles at this point, if I take the idea of Opportunity Forge more like what most people consider when they talk about building a channel, because that's never been what I've done on this channel. There are very easy steps that I could use to improve the quality of video and the audience retention and that kind of crap on this channel. That's not what I made this channel for, though. I didn't make this channel to be a part-time job. I made this to be a journal and a collaboration frame space for creative people to tinker around with ideas together. That's all it was. It was never meant to be a product, a brand. This is not a show in its standard definition. But I do think it would be interesting to do those types of things over on Opportunity Forge. Like the actual, like what you do when you want a channel to grow and become a show. Like that might be fun to play with for a little while. I don't guarantee that I will stick with it long term, but I do think there are certain things that I could do to make that an interesting adventure. So all told, let's just imagine a 25-hour week of creator content every week from multiple channels. It's not impossible. It definitely increases the workload on me already. Divide by 7 times. Divide by, let's say divide by 5 days equals. So, yeah, so it's about 5 hours a day of work if I do it just on weekdays. And if I do that and treat it like a full-time job, like treat it like not a full-time, a part-time job, I feel like I could do it. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I just think there is a question in my mind about it where it's not so much that could I do it, is at a certain point the question becomes, can I keep mustering the effort to put that in on a regular basis if it's not doing anything for me? Like I hate to put it in these terms, but quite frankly, when I go back to work on Saturday, I think at the end of this week is the next day I have scheduled. When I go back to work on Saturday, I show up, I put my hours in, I get a paycheck for my hours. That paycheck means I can eat. And that paycheck that makes it so that I can eat means that I'm alive long enough to do other things that I'm interested in. Now I can do all these other projects that I want to play around with quietly to myself without spending a lot of time or effort or worrying about the time frame that I put them out on. But nobody's ever going to see them when I do that. So if I'm going to put the effort into doing them regularly and doing them to some sort of quality that might be good enough for other people, there is a hope for some kind of return. Like, is this worth me putting this much of my life through a second part-time job? I don't know. Like, I think I have a limited time frame of how long I'm willing to do it without a return of some kind. But I think I could probably get away for a month and a half to 2 months just playing around with just the idea and see where I can get it to go from there. And I can always back burner or shelve the ideas that end up being, good ideas that I want to come back to, but not worth burning myself out just to include in the process. I guess that's what I'll have to think about doing at this point. I guess that's as close as we got to a plan right now. I will see if I can work on that a little bit over the next few days. What's today? Today's Tuesday. So by, what is it, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? I can't even remember where we are in the week. So Thursday night, I believe, is Christmas Eve. And by then, I'm hoping to have a better sense of what my plans going forward would be. And how I want to structure things. But for now, we're at 45 minutes, which is plenty enough time for me to say, I think we've covered most of what we can cover tonight. So I want to thank you for joining me, and have yourself a wonderful night. Take care and stay safe. God, this ear is driving me nuts. Good night. Good night. I don't know why. I'm not getting any information about chat being on or off. I'm not seeing any restrictions on chat, so chat should be able to work. But hopefully you can see that. I just did standard take care and have a good night response. I will have to go see what's up. Let me know if you're having any problems on your side of using the videos like this. I heard from somebody earlier this week saying that they were unable to get chat to work. I don't know. We'll find out.